also wanted to give you a brief, and because it has been through the courts, I've been loath to discuss it. On, I think it was April the 27th this year, I was at home. It was prior to a long weekend, and I get a knock on the door, and it's 2 police officers. And I am, for the first time in my life, served with a warrant or a summons to appear at court. And I take the summons and I say to the police officer, "What's this about?" He says, "It's from the Wanganui District Court. There you go." And he walks off. And I open the thing and read it, and it says that I am charged with publishing 2 counts of publishing the name of a vulnerable person in relation to a family court proceeding. A crime which, if had I been found guilty of, would have seen me possibly go to prison for 3 months or have a $2,000 fine. So not insignificant. A criminal offence. I'm charged with a criminal offence. That was back on April the 27th. I had had no warning of this. There'd been no investigation. I hadn't been interviewed or asked about the circumstances around it. I just got summoned and charged by the police at the behest, it would appear, of the court in Wanganui. I had to hire a lawyer, of course, to represent me, as I'm not a lawyer, and it's a serious thing to be charged with a crime, to be summoned to appear in court. My lawyer sought discovery, sought to say where all this came from, and it appeared that I was charged after a lawyer, a Wellington lawyer, representing an individual who has for many years conducted a defamatory campaign of character assassination against me. For what reason, I do not know. This high-profile and well-known individual has written terrible things about me. He has gone to employers like MediaWorks and told them to fire me, and published anonymous claims against me in his personal and online blogs and everything. He purports to be a journalist. I call him a gutter snipe. But this individual's lawyers went to the court and made a spurious claim to the court that I'd committed a crime. And the court chose to tell the police to issue a summons for that crime. On Friday, I pled not guilty as I looked at the crime of publishing a vulnerable person's name. And even to a layman like me, I said, how can the defendant in a family court matter, in a protection order, how can they be a vulnerable person under the law? And my lawyer, we pled not guilty, and my lawyer was due tomorrow to argue in court why the charges should never have been laid. But before that even happened, the court receives an application from the police prosecution service, which says proper procedures were not followed in this case. And having reviewed the case, we wish to withdraw all the charges against Mr. Plunket. No crime was committed because the person that he identified was not a vulnerable person for the purposes of the Act, which is good news for me. Good news for me. And I am now left several $1,000s lighter in my wallet because, of course, when you're charged with a crime, you have to hire a lawyer, and lawyers aren't cheap, though I was given excellent service by my lawyer. I am now left wondering, do I accept that the police can lay a charge and the court can lay a charge basically on the grounds that the lawyer of someone who didn't like me and has long conducted a campaign against me, that lawyer can go to the court and get the state to basically bully me? Do I let it go and leave it be and say, oh, that's a win? Or do I try and find out more deeply what went on and get some compensation? And I would say this. This was, for me, I'm not going to say it wasn't stressful. I'm not going to say it didn't cause me to lose some sleep and stuff up my long weekend. And, of course, the legacy media covered it with glee, though hardly any of them have covered the fact that the charges are now being withdrawn to the same extent. So I suffer reputational damage and financial damage because someone made a mistake. I don't know. Part of me says move on. And part of me says if I wasn't me, this could have destroyed me. And I have an obligation to people who aren't me, who might get stuck in the same position. So I'm really asking you people who I think know me and know me by reputation, what you think I should do, because I have a choice. I can decide, and I won't get satisfaction. I won't get satisfaction out of this, but I might stop it happening to someone else, and that's really what sits on my conscience.